Hey, I'm Bill Marion at Dark Hollow Falls, just off Skyline Drive in Virginia, and this is A Nose for Life. So Carol and I are hiking Dark Hollow Falls just off Skyline Drive here in Virginia. It's a beautiful trail, very popular, busy, crowded kind of trail. In fact, that's a part of the reason why Carol and I have avoided this trail to these beautiful waterfalls for so long, is because it is so crowded. This is the kind of trail that's kind of soupy to your right here on your way descending down to the falls. And because of that, you gotta have your insect repellent if you're hiking here in the summer. While the name Dark Hollow Falls seems like something you might see at your local theater during October, it's a great way of describing this creek-fed hollow, or as we grew up saying it in my neck of the woods, holler. This trail is kind of a continuation of Story of the Forest Trail, which begins at Big Meadows. Dark Hollow Falls Trail is just north of Big Meadows, so you can start at Big Meadows and hike all the way to Dark Hollow Falls. The name of this creek is Hogcamp Branch. I guess there wasn't much of a creative team back in the pioneering days. There are other amazing waterfalls in the area, for instance, Rose River Falls. From what I understand, you can follow Hogcamp Branch past Dark Hollow Falls to Rose River. From there, head north to Rose River Falls. But we're sticking to Dark Hollow. Anyway, there's a canopy of trees over your head the entire trip to the falls, making conditions great if you're a photographer, and if you really know what you're doing. And let's just face it, I don't. But that's what every website says about this location. It's great for photography. If you love geology, there are some amazing boulders.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
Seriously, the sides of the mountain are exposed in several locations, and some natural erosion has really made for some impressive sights. Now, as far as waterfalls are concerned, yeah, there are better waterfalls in state parks and national parks all over the country, but what makes this so awesome are the rock formations all around the waterfalls. It's really cool, and of course the surrounding mountains. You're at a high elevation anyway, so you're already up there, and of course these giant mountains are all around this location. By the way, this trail is one of the most visited in Shenandoah National Park, and every time we've driven through the parking lot, we've noticed that most of the visitors aren't local. They're from all over the U.S. You know, we've made a lot of videos in Shenandoah National Park, and we've talked a lot about its history and the CCC and all of that stuff. There are a few things I haven't talked about. For example, as early as 1901, legislation was introduced to create a national park in the Appalachian Mountains, and it was even supported by Teddy Roosevelt, but it failed to pass. Believe it or not, national parks were controversial at the time. It wasn't until 1925, under the Coolidge administration, that Shenandoah National Park came into being. Skyline Drive is an amazing Appalachian mountain road or mountain scenic highway, and it was built specifically to display the best scenery in the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia and lead to amazing destinations in nature like the waterfalls in this video. And trust me, there's much more to Shenandoah National Park than this family hiking trail. Skyline was such a success when 32 miles of it opened in 1936 that immediately a plan was developed to connect Shenandoah National Park all the way to Smoky Mountains. The Smoky Mountains wouldn't become Great Smoky Mountain National Park until 1940, but construction on the Blue Ridge Parkway began in 1935 that would eventually connect two national parks in the Appalachian Mountains. These days, the Blue Ridge Parkway gets most of the attention. In full disclosure, the Blue Ridge Parkway is my favorite scenic highway too, and let me explain it by the numbers. Great Smoky Mountain National Park receives 12 million visitors a year compared to Shenandoah's 1.46 million. Now, there are 423 parks in the national park system with different designations. On that very broad list, Blue Ridge Parkway is number 1 with more than 14 million visitors a year, and Great Smoky Mountain National Park is number 3. Of the 62 parks given the designation National Park, Great Smoky Mountain National Park is number 1. Shenandoah didn't make the top 10 on any list. Now, I don't hide the fact that I'm partial to the Great Smoky Mountains, and yes, I'm partial to my beloved Blue Ridge Parkway. But we can't forget that Skyline Drive was a game changer that harnessed the power of the automobile revolution. I realize that it's not my job to advertise for national parks, even though I've done my fair share on this channel, and they really should send me a check, or at the very least, a national park jacket or sweatshirt. And I would settle for a t-shirt. But that's not my point. My point is that in our next video, Carolyn and I are going to drive all 105 miles of Skyline, videoing every overlook, every significant stop and wayside. This is going to be a complete 100% been there, done that kind of video about the Skyline Drive. This video is going to be longer than any other video we've ever made, despite the fact that people don't typically like long videos. I don't care, because Skyline Drive needs this upcoming video, whether they know it or not. It's going to be complete, never before seen, over-edited with annoying voiceovers and occasional dad jokes, spectacular. So make sure you're subscribed and that the bell is clicked for notifications. Make sure you're a part of our Facebook page at Bill, Marion Life, and follow us on Twitter at Bill and Carolyn. You're going to get the greatest video about Skyline Drive ever made. Okay, listen, I might be overselling this just a little bit, so adjust your expectations accordingly. Okay, let's get back to the falls. Dark Hollow Falls is one of the most photographed waterfalls in the state of Virginia, and it's one of the most popular hiking destinations in Shenandoah National Park. But that has a lot to do with its location. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, it's just off Skyline Drive and less than 100 yards away from Big Meadows. I've learned a lot about Virginia and West Virginia waterfalls from this book, Waterfalls of Virginia and West Virginia by Randall Sanger. This wonderful book was a gift from one of our faithful subscribers and friend of the channel, Billy McDaniel. 174 waterfalls, including Dark Hollow Falls, are listed and described. Sanger's photography is amazing, and special thanks to Billy McDaniel for the gift. There's a link in the description.
So here's what to expect: a little less than a mile to walk all the way down here, and of course you're gonna have to walk straight back up the mountain on the way back. You get a little bit of everything here: fat falls, skinny falls, all the kind of falls you can think of, cascading down the mountain. It looks absolutely beautiful, and it's a family location. Now that being said, you're gonna have to move a little slowly around the falls. The rocks are a little bit dangerous, and they're families zigzagging in and out, having fun and enjoying themselves. You're not gonna be alone here. Carolyn and I have been coming to Skyline Drive now for 3 years, and this particular attraction here on Skyline Drive is very popular, and the parking lot is always full.
Dark Hollow Falls isn't one of our favorite waterfalls, but I understand why so many people visit every year. It's a family hiking destination, and Carolyn enjoyed this hike, even though the trip back was pretty steep.
It wasn't too bad.
Speak for yourself.
Nevertheless, people of all ages were hiking to and from the falls. By the way, most of the images of Dark Hollow Falls in this video are available in 4K on my other channel, Breathe, that we're still trying to get off the ground. There's a tab in the top right-hand corner of your screen now, and there's a link at the end of this video as well.
So now that we're covered in sweat and being swarmed by mosquitoes, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Please hit the like and subscribe button. My name is Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life. Hey, if you like this video, chances are you'll like one of these videos as well.